أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة المتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد. My dear believing brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And to all our viewers and our viewership, I say, Yahdikumullah, may God's guidance be with you and the guidance of Allah be with all of us. Ahlan wa sahlan, welcome to our Masjid Al Wali Chai Chat. And I have tonight with me my guest, my brother Jim Soos. Brother Jim, you have your chai with you?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Jim actually recently he joined ICNA, New Jersey as a program manager. Jim was born and raised in Pasadena in California, where he attended Sunday school and church. He graduated from the University of California at Berkeley with a bachelor's degree in economics in 1977. Shortly after graduation, he moved to the New York City area, where he worked for IBM in product management and marketing for nearly 20 years.
Yep.
In 1995, he was introduced to Islam by a co-worker at IBM. He converted to Islam that same year, and in 2008 became the executive director of the New Jersey chapter of the Council of American Islamic Relations, which is CAIR. Jim is a brand new grandfather. Recently, he became a grandfather. And I also had the pleasure of working with Jim in another board at National Islamic Association. And I've known him for many years. And I am so happy and honored to have you here, my dear brother Jim, on this program. Welcome.
Alhamdulillah, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
First of all, how are you doing? Everything is good? You and your family? Everybody well?
Alhamdulillah, yeah, we're all well. And like you said, I'm a new grandfather, and we're all happy about that, inshallah. So that's added a little spice to our lives around here. My son, his wife, and our grandchild is living with us for the time being, and so it's nice. It's nice to be, if you're gonna be locked up, you might as well have some family around.
Yes, absolutely. And I assume that you retired, and are you enjoying your retirement?
Well, semi-retired. I am still actually working at ICNA.
Okay.
As the program manager. Yeah.
Semi-retired, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jim, I am very, very happy to have you on this program. And as I discussed with you before, on this program, we really like to capture the audience, the next generation of Muslims, young Muslims in high school heading into college, guiding them through the process of academics and their maintaining Islamic identity. So, I think you are in a very good position, which is a very unique position for us to talk. And that is the reason why I really invited you on this program. First of all, just tell us briefly about your conversion to Islam. What is that really in Islam attracted you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I should say that I want to give you the brief response. The detailed answer is on the Why Islam YouTube channel. It runs a little over 7 minutes, so I won't get into that level of detail here. I'll use up all the time. But what first attracted me really was an excellent example set for me by a Muslim coworker. I was contemplating a question of truth and honesty, and actually, without even knowing that he was Muslim, asked for his advice. And his advice was definitely take the honest, truthful route without question. And that's what led me to ask him. And then he said his religion tells him to do that. And that's what led me to ask him about his religion. And then we from that point, we entered into a months-long discussion about Islam and Christianity and the Bible and the Quran and a lot of things. You know, a lot of things. I learned a lot of things that I did not know about Islam. I had no idea, for instance, that the the Hebrew prophets and Jesus were all really a part of what was, you know, being taught in the Quran. This was all news to me. But it all did start really with a co-worker who was Muslim who set a good example.
MashaAllah. So that shows it very important for those who are Muslims out there. You don't know who is really looking at you and patterning their lives, you know, along your lifestyle. So it is very important to maintain, you know, a proper Islamic life that can be an example, inshallah. And that's beautiful. Jim, the question I want to ask you, was there a reaction from your family when you become Muslims? I mean, how they reacted to you?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there was, let's say, in some cases, you know, a bit of the shock and surprise. How, you know, how did this happen? You know, it would have, say, come out of left field. As a Christian, I wasn't a particularly devout Christian. I'd say I pretty much, you know, I rarely went to church in my adult life. You know, as you mentioned, as a child, I had gone to Sunday school, but in my adult life, I didn't pay that much attention to it. But there wasn't really any major objection. You know, certain family members sort of welcomed it with open arms and wanted to hear more about it and learn more about it. There was some skepticism on the part of some family members, but I don't think anyone tried to talk me out of it necessarily. I think my wife, frankly, thought that it was something that I would get over after some period of time. But now it's been 25 years. So, and inshallah, by the grace of Allah, I'm not going to get over it. You know, it was, I mean, I was 40 years old at the time. So I think that my family felt that I was at the age where I was capable of making decisions for myself about those kinds of things.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I mean, I always love to hear, you know, stories. I can sit down and listen to stories of people converted. It's very inspiring for me. Inspiring in the sense that many of us who are born in a Muslim home, we don't know what it takes for someone to come into Islam at age 40 or maybe age 20, 25. It's a whole different kind of scenario, a different kind of a ball game playing here. And so I think a lot of times we, you know, those of us who are born in Muslim families or with Islam, sometimes we are not able to appreciate the benefits and the kind of perks that comes with it until, you know, you see the struggle of new Muslims, you know, and there are new Muslims all around the world, you know, by thousands that are returning to Islam.
Yeah, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, you know, by the grace of Allah and by the, you know, the hard work of a lot of you know, brothers and sisters and organizations like Why Islam, which is of course a project of Vikna. It's you know, alhamdulillah, it's a growing religion.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So Jim, what I want to talk about a little more here is, did you recall your days in college, right? Because you're coming from a different perspective, right? You're coming from someone who was not a Muslim in college. And what advice do you have for Muslim students in college? I mean, and what are some of the temptations are out there?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, college life today, as was college life in my day, which my day was back in the 1970s. I graduated in 1977. You know, it is full of temptation. There is, of course, I don't need to break this news to anyone, but there is quite, you know, rampant alcohol abuse. There is drug use. There's a lot of infidelity. It's just a lifestyle, and I think that the kids probably that are living at home and looking forward to going away to school are actually looking forward to just partying and these kinds of things that go on. So it's really something that a Muslim student would have to be very wary of. The temptations are many. I mean, at the time, what I'm calling temptations, I saw as opportunities because I thought that, boy, this looks like a lot of fun and I don't want to miss out. And unfortunately, I
Yeah,
think a lot of people, yeah, will see it that way.
yeah.
But it's there's a lot of things that look like a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, nothing good will come of it.
What are a couple of the things that you would suggest to Muslim students now in college? Now that you came from that unique background, when you were in college, you were not a Muslim, and today a lot of kids who are they're grown up in what we call a very secure environment in their home,
Right.
and so they are protected in high school and middle school, high school. They are protected,
Yeah.
parents looking over them, and so
Yeah.
when they get into college, it's a whole new life, and
Yeah.
this college life comes to them, and
Yeah.
sometimes it really it's a problem to navigate.
Yeah, yeah. When I mean, I grew up in, I'll say a fairly, typical American family, and we had in my family, in my extended family, with family friends, there was alcohol abuse, there was drug use, there was infidelity, and this is what I grew up with, and it was just known. I could see though as a child that there was a price to be paid for this by these adults that were doing these things. I knew people that were alcoholics, and I saw the devastation that wreaked on their lives. I knew people that had drug abuse problems, and the how it destroyed their lives. I mean, literally destroyed lives. So in going into college, while I was looking forward to some opportunities, I at least was wary because I had seen the extremely negative impact that these things can have on a person's life, and that's a person's life. We're talking about in this dunya.
Yeah,
As a Muslim, we know that this is going to have a negative impact on your judgment as well, the day of judgment. Um,
yeah,
so it is, it's something that, a Muslim student who's grown up in a protected household, whose family members, extended family members, friends of family, they aren't going to be offering these bad examples of what can happen when these things go unchecked. So
yeah,
I would expect a fair amount of naivete as a Muslim student enters, the college social life, the college environment.
yeah,
It's all going to look tempting. It's all going to look like a lot of fun. It's going to look like something you don't want to miss out on.
yeah,
And that's going to all look that way to someone who hasn't seen the negative, repercussions of this kind of lifestyle.
yeah. I mean, the consequences. I mean, it's unbelievable the kind of consequences that surround such behavior.
Yeah.
And sadly say that they are. A lot of our Muslim kids are not. They are not safe from these kind of situation.
Right.
A lot of our parents sometimes are not fully aware of situation. But this is something we have to be very much cognizant of, because it can really destroy a child in college. And so it is very important to have this kind of understanding. And this is the reason why it is so important for families, for parents, to that early induction or that early introduction of Islam to the child's life, and able to help them along that process. So when they go into college, it's not like getting into something that is new. They already have an Islamic background, because the consequences are many, right, Jim?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's you don't have the supervision that you're used to having. You don't have um, the kind of restraints, and everyone around you is now living a completely different lifestyle that is very much steeped in drinking, drug abuse, and infidelity and all these kinds of things. And it's very tempting, and it's very easy for someone who's not familiar with the effects of all these things to unknowingly get into very difficult situations, what turns out to be a difficult situation. Sisters won't necessarily know what to expect being with a male student who has been drinking, and they won't know what the impact of alcohol will have on them, in a situation with other male students. And it just leads to all kinds of bad situations.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, it's these are things that we're talking about here that sometimes we don't hear much places, and this is the reason why we really want to guide and to help our young generation in the process of making the right decisions, because one small wrong decision can really put your whole life in danger.
Absolutely. These things are not without consequence, and the consequences can be very far-reaching. Things that seem innocent, a little slip up, a mistake. Oh boy, did I do some things last night that I regret? Well, hey, it could be more regret than you think.
Yeah. A quick question: when you were in college in Berkeley, did you came across any Muslims at that time?
Yeah, actually, I had an Iranian roommate for like a semester. And I can't say that he was very observant. He was, yeah, that's all I'll say is I just can't, he was not exactly what I would call observant.
Yeah.
And this was back at the time of the Shah of Iran.
Okay.
And yeah, he was, he had very interesting politics. But yeah, I didn't witness him praying. I didn't witness really anything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The thing is that when you were with CARE as the executive director in New Jersey, I know for a fact, because I myself recommended a few interns at CARE in New Jersey, and you had quite a bit of interaction with young people also. What did you see from that experience that you can advise young kids that were exposed to you in the internship at CARE in New Jersey?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at what I learned from some of the younger interns and staff. I had found out from from staff and interns who were in their 30s that it seemed like almost universally they had consumed alcohol when they were in college, which surprised me. And then it turned out that in talking to some interns that were actually in college at the time, there was some talk about consuming alcohol. And actually one time I asked one of these interns who was the member of the MSA at his school, just out of curiosity, I asked, well, how many, what percentage of the members of the MSA do you think drink alcohol? And he just looked at me and said 100%. And that was a little bit cause for alarm, a little shocking, a little bit alarming. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whether his response was correct or whatever the case is, it means that there was a high percentage, whether it's 100%, 75 or 80%, whatever the case is. I mean, it shows that even Muslim students are not safe from these kind of situations. And so this is what we got to be very careful about, that, shaitan influences, and shaitan is always ready to capture us, and our young generation is also very vulnerable to these things, and this is the reason why we really want to use these programs to guide. I mean, Allah bless those who are in MSAs, all the MSAs, Allah bless them. At the same time, we still need to take that level of tarbiyah, that a notch higher. I'm not saying that everybody will be praying 5 daily prayers from day one, but MSA is doing what we call an amazing job throughout all the colleges in the US. But it is very important that for the young people to take it to another level, because remember, you are representing a section of the Muslim population, right? The young population. and what people see you and how your examples are can be very, very detrimental for the dawah.
Yeah, and also, they should remember that the shaitan will make it seem very fair to them. It will come in the form of someone who you trust saying something like, what harm is just one beer? Well,
Yeah,
what's that going to hurt? Just, one beer. You never tasted it. And then, and then after one beer, and then it just goes from there. It'll incrementally invade your life.
yeah,
But it'll always seem fair, seem harmless, seem innocent at the very beginning. And then, it's just, you're better off just not going there at all, of course.
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is something that, all of our youngsters, all the different levels of the organization, we have to really able to take, our practice and our training a notch higher in terms of where we are, because eyes are on us, and at the
Yeah.
same time, we ask Allah to bless the MSAs and help them that they can able to be example, really, I mean, a rightful example of what Islam really stands for. And I know there are a lot of young people in MSAs who are really, really good and do an amazing job also. But at the same time, there might be quite a few who possibly sometimes is not able to come out with that kind of example that left a kind of a glaring and a shining star example to the rest of all the Muslim population. So we call on all our young people, all the organizations in colleges, in school, please be very cognizant of this fact. There is one thing I want to talk to you a little more about, Brother Jim, and that is, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there is a constant wave of young people, right? Not necessarily only Muslims, that are going towards atheism, right, in
Yeah.
colleges.
Yeah.
I know many reputable organizations and different groups have responded and to this kind of new, I don't know what you will call it, like a new fad, like
Yeah.
not to believe in God.
Yeah.
When you were in college, was there something like this, or how do you see your time? I mean, any kind of situation like this at that time?
Frankly, I don't remember anything like that. I know that there were Christian groups on campus that encouraged students to join them, and there were people in the courtyards, maybe doing some preaching or something like that. I don't remember a Muslim presence on campus, but I don't remember any kind of movement towards atheism. God forbid. And it's that's concerning. That's concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really really a shame to hear.
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes exposure to different types of philosophy and philosophers sometimes impact some of these young minds, and
yeah,
you know that college life, you would know that this is a very vulnerable period. It is
yeah,
either you make you into something or divert you into something else, right?
right,
And so this is one of the diversion um, that is creating a problem. So we here again, I mean, parents need to educate. Don't force your kids. Don't force Islam on your kids. Don't come down with them with an iron fist in practicing Islam. They must understand and know why they are praying, why they are fasting, why these are the fundamental principles, the different fundamental principles of Islam. Don't let them force them to do things without an explanation. And this is the outcome sometimes when we force our kids to get into things that no explanation is given. They feel that they are really forced to practice something that they don't want to just because of their parents.
yeah. Well, in college, college is a time of exchange of ideas. It's a time when you're encouraged to have an open mind, accept new ideas, explore things intellectually.
Yeah.
I think that, I can't remember who said it, but I remember a quote of someone who said, you should have an open mind, but not so far open that your brains fall out. So, you should have an open mind. There are very important lessons to be learned from your college experience, but keep the fundamentals, in mind. Remember your creator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is something that we have to be very, very uh, clear about and able to help our young people towards this process also, because it can be very, very challenging for them. I mean, at the same time, we have to be able to also sympathize with our young kids who are in college. I mean, it's not an easy life. It's a very vulnerable time for them, and so as grown-ups and as parents and elders and leaders of the community, this is a time that they need a hand around their shoulder, and and to coach them towards the right direction, and do not judge them, do not be judgmental, because judgmental can really turn them away from Islam too.
Yeah, inshallah. I mean, that's probably one of the things about, I guess, religion in general, that may turn some people off, is they feel that they aren't being judged. They feel that the things that they want to do are being disapproved of, and that all these other people around them are just having a lot of fun and not being bothered by those judgments. So maybe just be with them, right? But this has, far-reaching implications. You have to keep in mind your own mortality. The only thing we really all know about the future is we all know that we are going to die.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself what happens after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, it's a pleasure talking to you. For those of you who just joined us, this is my very good brother and friend, Jim Soos, who accepted Islam a number of years ago, and now he is the program manager for ICNA New Jersey, former CARE executive director for New Jersey. Chatting with him here, his experience coming into Islam and some of the things that exist out there for young people as we're talking them through high school and college. Jim, it's really a pleasure talking to you. But
my pleasure.
As usual, all my guests, I have a rapid round of questions. So you are not going to be exempted from this rapid round. Excuse me. So my first question, Jim, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Inshallah, I have been to Medina, and I would certainly like to go back to Medina. It is, it's just a great place to be as a Muslim. There's a lot of history there, of course. I think that the time that I spent there, of course, was just before making the Hajj, and that was in the year 2000 with the brothers from NIA.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place, and it's a place where your piety can increase very easily.
Yeah, I remember that year very clearly when you went to Hajj. May Allah accept your Hajj and bless you, brother Jim. What is your favorite food?
Off the top of my head, I'd have to say enchiladas, but curry is a strong second.
Curry?
Curry, yeah.
MashaAllah, man. Where you learn about curry from?
At Roseville Avenue in Newark.
A Ghanese community, right?
Yeah. West Indian curry is the best.
You drive on Roseville Avenue and you could have that aroma, right?
Yeah, right. All the way down the street.
What is the strangest thing you have ever eaten?
I think I had alligator sausage once, and
really?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty strange. Yeah.
I thought I never heard you mention that, but I remember one time we were in a class sometime, and there was dinner, and one of the brothers brought hasser.
Is that fish?
And you thought it was a little alligator, right?
It was that river fish, right?
It's a little. In Trinidad they call it cascadoo. In Guyana they call it hasser.
Oh, okay.
It's a small little black. Would you peel it out? I remember you look at that stuff and you were saying, "What is this, man?"
Okay, that was pretty strange.
Um, what's your hobby?
Um, I bake bread and I maintain my car. I actually like working on cars.
You bake bread?
Yeah, I bake.
Really?
Yeah, I've been baking sourdough bread for years. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I
I,
enjoy that.
I have to taste that bread before I can say you're in that field.
I'll have to perfect the recipe then.
What is your favorite summer activity?
I like to ride my bike.
Okay.
We live here near the Delaware River, and on both the New Jersey side and the Pennsylvania side, there are canals, and there are paths that follow the canals. These stone, gravel, sand paths, and it's great for bike riding. And I've been doing that for in the summertime for the last 10, 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Very good. Alhamdulillah. And lastly, but not least, um, are you a morning or night person?
I'd have to say, given those two choices, a night person.
You're a
Uh,
night person.
I tend to go back to bed after Fajr. So
Okay.
inshallah, if I'm allowed to.
Well, just for your knowledge, the majority of my guests are night person.
Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising.
Jim, was a pleasure talking to you, my brother. May Allah bless you, keep you well,
I mean,
and thanks for coming on to Masjid Al Wali Chai Chat.
inshallah.
Um,
Yeah,
I hope you enjoy chatting on these matters of importance for a young generation. And
inshallah.
inshallah, I will engage you sometime in the future.
Inshallah. The pleasure was mine. Thank you very much for inviting me.
No problem, brother Jim. And very quickly before I go, an announcement for Masjid Al Wali. The Jumu'ah, the first Jumu'ah will be at 1:15, and the second Jumu'ah will be at 2:15. There's a change of time from last week. So the second Jumu'ah would not be at 2 o'clock, but it will be at 2:15 because there was like a heavy traffic in between the two Jama'ah. So 1:15 and 2:15. And secondly, please check our website for our blood drive on April 4th. Please sign up. This is something very good to do, to share, that blood that you have for others to benefit, inshallah. So you can go online and sign up, inshallah, on the website and on our blood drive. So I would like to also inform our viewers that we have established a full-time pantry, and it's really kicking off so fastly that we have not realized that there are so many people really are in need of foodstuff. So for those of you who are contributing, please, I take this opportunity to thank you. You could also go online and contribute to the process of helping others, inshallah. May Allah bless you and bless your family. Until then, Brother Jim, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.